Simon, can I ask a question? And
Yes.
apologies if you don't expect this, but what else have you been watching?
Ah, that's good of you to ask. Primarily, I have been watching a couple of the big movies this week. There's an awful lot of movies this week, and I didn't get to see Maxine, which I'm very excited to see, the new Ty West film saying Mia Goth, but I did get to see Kinds of Kindness. Now, this is Yorgos Lanthimos' follow up to Poor Things. He has worked again in this film with one Emma Stone, one Willem Dafoe. He's also brought on board the wonderful Margaret Qualley, and probably the MVP here, the most valuable cast member, is one Jesse Plemons, who is, well, I should say all these actors are throughout the entire film, although it is a three-tiered narrative, which looks at some of the foibles and strangeness and conditions of the modern relationship. And if that sounds boring, it is not. This is a compelling and wonderful piece of cinema that is as strange as all get up. But I think it's Yorgos's masterpiece. I enjoyed this more than Poor Things. It's not quite the visual treat that Poor Things was, but even in its own way, it's a beautifully shot widescreen film. He uses, like I mentioned, he uses the same actors throughout all three stories, but they're all playing different characters, and even that gives it a kind of wonky, off-kilter sense of logic that messes with your head while you're watching this movie. There's some icky stuff in there, as you expect from Yorgos. Remember, this is the guy that did those weird Greek films from a few years ago, like Dogtooth. And this is probably as close to those movies as he's done in recent times. And I love Dogtooth, and I certainly love Kinds of Kindness. So settle in. It's 3 hours long. I mean, in snarky critic terms, it's basically Yorgos's version of the Twilight Zone. The films all take a little bit of a twist that you don't see coming, and all exist within this strange reality that has a kind of Twilight Zone-y about it. But they're so compelling to watch. I really loved Kinds of Kindness.
Okay. What? Tell me about Brats. I know you've been champing at the bit to talk about this for about 3 weeks now.
Well, this is my jam. Brats is the documentary from Andrew McCarthy. It's on Disney Plus and Hulu for our US listeners. That recounts that Brat Pack period in the mid to late 80s where stars like Mr. McCarthy himself and Molly Ringwald and Rob Lowe and Demi Moore and Emilio Estevez were all labeled with the Brat Pack moniker, all stemming from an article that was written. In the end, it was very detrimental to their careers. They've all survived it, obviously, and gone on to great things. But at the time, it put the brakes on public perception of them as all being the brats of the title. And this has some very sort of stark and open discussions between McCarthy, who's at the center of his own film, and all his friends, except Judd Nelson. Although there's a last second twist, a final real twist that I didn't see coming, and may lead to a second Bratz documentary. I remember fondly all these stars, and it's nice to see them talk so openly about a period of their life which was all about excess and success, and finally some regret. And I thought it was a really sweet sort of story. So that's Bratz. It's on Disney Plus and Hulu. Dan, which reminds me, what else have you been watching?
Look, I'm very happy you were able to remember and pass your Biden-style cognitive test there. What have I been watching? Not much. I'm still in the process of, I've moved house and I'm now trying to put boxes where boxes don't belong, and it's just
Oh,
been difficult. Also, I've had no internet for the last week. Okay, I only
yep.
got properly connected again like about a day or two ago. So I've been relying on this thing called broadcast free-to-air television, Simon.
Don't know
And
of it.
let me tell you, it is a wild and woolly place out there.
It's the
I
Wild West.
Yeah, look, it hasn't really been great. So I've actually seen very little this last week, okay? But because I've had access to the ABC and with my limited Telstra internet connectivity, I'm able to access stuff on ABC iView with relatively decent speed. I've been watching ER, which has been on iView. One of our listeners and reader of my newsletter, a guy named Sam, he's been sending me DMs for the last 2 or 3 weeks as he, a man in his mid to late 20s, I think, has discovered ER for the first time because he never watched it as a youngster.
Wasn't
Okay,
born.
and he's just been reveling in that first season. And it's been on my mind thinking, oh, maybe I should be watching some ER, and like this has got me back in. So if you want to know what I've been watching for the next 10 to 15 months on this podcast, I will be talking about ER.
This is the new LA Law period of your life. This is the new LA Law aspect of screen watching. It's now
100%.
called ER. Nice. All right, okay. It's been a million years since I've watched any ER. Of course, I was there for
dude,
it's booming success. The launching of the Clooney years, and who was the one that went from NYPD Blue over to ER? What was her name?
That would be Susan,
Sherry
Dr.
Stringfield.
Ross.
Sherry Stringfield. Yeah, terrific. Well, loved ER. It was must-see TV at the time. So
there was no TV better than first season ER. Load up, just watch an episode or two, Simon, and I challenge you not to want to keep on watching for the rest of the season. Like, it is so watchable. It's incredible.
One of the great opening title treatments, opening credit themes of any television series. When that music came on, and the heartbeat, and the doctor does the punch towards the ground that he does, and it's just had so much going for it. So yeah, it was a big deal back in the day.
That would be Dr. Peter Benton. But yeah, let's go on. Simon, it's time for us to go off to our little part where we play some games. This is the Screen Watching House of Games.